Hey guys, what's happening? And welcome back to the live stream. Thanks for joining us this evening for Diesel and Iron's live stream, your favorite part of the week. So, obviously, I'm Brian, your host, and that's cool. Oh, is it working? It's working? Maybe? Nope. Oh, hang on. I done screwed everything up. I'm sorry, guys. Here we go. There it is. Okay. So now that I got that all sorted out, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the live stream. Andrew Ruggiero. I'm Ruggiero. Maybe I said Ruggiero is the correct pronunciation. What's happening, man? I'm glad you were able to set yourself a reminder to be here this week. I do appreciate that. Colton Farms, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Brandon, yes, we have called you all here because it is Sunday evening, which is the nights we do the Diesel and Iron live stream. And here we are, live. Minnesota Films, what's happening? Good to see you again, man. JJ, how's it going? How have I been? I've been good. It's been a good week. So I had my brother-in-law and my sister in town this week with their kids. So got to take the kids out to run some equipment and do some fun things, and that was always a good time. So yeah, it was a good week. How are you guys doing? Let's see here. Another positive thing that happened this week is, as you know from last week, I took over hosting The Dirt, which is why the backdrop looks different here. I've got a new audio setup to where I don't have my microphone in front of me, which is awesome. I'm a big fan of that. And so, in fact, let me turn my mic down just a little bit because that's looking like it's running just a hair hot. So let's try right about there. Anyway, so new audio setup, new backdrop for the dirt, which is on Equipment World. If you go to the YouTube search bar, search Equipment World the Dirt, you will see their channel. And the latest episode, which dropped on Thursday, is the first one with me as the host. We talk about 2D machine control systems with Trimble. This week I actually did an interview with the people at TopCon. Pretty much the same topic, just a little bit of variation so that it wasn't exactly the same as the Trimble interview. That will be dropping this coming Thursday. So really exciting things. It's really, really cool stuff. So, Colton Farms. Yes, I did check out your YouTube channel. You got some nice content there, brother. It's farm heavy, but yes, it is. That's good stuff. I do enjoy farm stuff, as you and I have talked back and forth about. I enjoy it. So, and you got, yeah, the 580 Super N, and that's if I'm gonna pick a backhoe, the 580 Super N is the backhoe I would pick. Maybe a 590, because bigger is always better, right? But anyway, yeah, that's kind of life right now. I am gearing up. So before I forget, we will not be doing a live stream next weekend because I will be down in Texas. My parents have their 40th wedding anniversary, so we are all flying down to Texas to celebrate together as a family. So I will totally be out of town, will not be present next Sunday for the live stream. So we are going to skip next Sunday. But yeah, that's this week is going to be basically getting everything recorded for the dirt, for my channels, getting everything kind of in line so that I can go travel for next week. So pretty exciting stuff. We do have some exciting stuff coming up for the Diesel and Iron channel too. So I was contacted by the guys from iDig this week. They are planning on probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Rick and I have a mound system septic field and a basement dig that we're going to come dig, and iDig is going to bring out their demo system and help us throw it on the machine, and we are going to get to do a full review on the iDig system. So stay posted for that, because that will be coming here in about a month or so. So that's really exciting too. But yeah, let's see here. Matt. So Matthew Bearden, if you guys see in the comments there, Matthew Bearden, that is Matt from Dig Nation 21. Unfortunately, he, for whatever reason, was not able to continue on with his job where he was recording. So Dig Nation 21, if you guys were following that channel, unfortunately is no more. But we're all bummed about that, Matt. I really do apologize that happened to you, but at the same time, obviously, we're glad that you're here, and we're here. We're happy that you're sticking around with the community, the YouTube creator community. We're still happy to have you here. So if you do fire back up, like I said, I stayed subbed, and I've got the little bell notification on. So if you make some more videos, thank you. Appreciate it. So my wife made me a drink, and it was very sweet. Ooh, and it is good. It's like a margarita kind of, but with her own twist on it. Ooh, that's got some tang. That's good. So anyway, what was I saying, Matt? I did say stay sub to your channel, and I did keep the bell notification on. So if you do go back to making videos, man, by all means, I'm going to be there waiting for you, along with the rest of us. So, Brandon, yes, I am leaving you. I'm sorry. I will still be available via phone, as you guys all know that shoot me Instagram messages. I pretty much always respond when I have time. So. Oh my lord, that drink is like the salt from the rim coupled with the tanginess of whatever she's got in there. I'm about to start drooling all over. It's made my salivary glands go all nuts. So anyway, Minnesota Film, sorry it's been a while. Quit my job at the tire shop, started detailing equipment for an excavation company. Nice. And you start heavy equipment operator school in November. Good for you, man. That's awesome. I mean, that definitely sounds like you took a step up in the career path. You know, I'm not dogging on the tire job by any means, but you know, this sounds like it's more of kind of a career life-changing decision, and you're going to school for it. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. I'm excited for you. Excuse me. And that being said, no need to apologize, brother. I totally get it. We're all busy, and this is kind of the busy season for our industry, so my audience is actually way down from what it is during the winter hours, so no big deal at all. Let's see here. Videos case TR270 with the new mower. You said you do have those? I'll have to go find those. Those TR270s are nice little machines. If you don't need horsepower, if you don't need a big footprint and a heavy lift capacity, those TR270s are great little machines. So, Ryan Garrett, what's happening, man? Good to have you. Jackson, you as well. Watching the Olympics. Yeah, I know you've been doing that all day. Ryan, to answer your question, what's new? The biggest thing is my first dirt episode aired on Equipment World's channel Thursday. And so I recorded my second episode this week, which is going to air this coming Thursday. So if you guys haven't gone over to Equipment World's channel, you may be familiar with the dirt that was hosted by Wayne. Wayne, for whatever reason, ended up going someplace else and they needed a replacement host. I am now hosting the dirt, and you will see this lovely backdrop here on the dirt along with yours truly. So that's kind of the biggest thing that's new with me. And again, before I forget again, for everyone, now that we've got a lot of people showing up here, we will not be going live next weekend because I will be down in Texas celebrating my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to my mother and father. But yeah, I will not be going live next weekend. So that's something new as well. And then we have the fact that I was contacted by iDig earlier this week. They want to bring out a system and let Rick and I demo it. So we've got that coming probably here in the next month or so on the Diesel and Iron channel. And then we'll have a lot of footage of that on the vlog side as well, because I'm especially going to document that whole process on one of my vlog episodes, probably maybe a day or two worth of material there. So anyway, that's pretty cool stuff. So that's what's new. Matt, we're a family going to try and access Gmail account and try to get back on it. Not a big tech guy, so they're going to have some help. Let me know if I can help you out with anything, Matt. Honestly, because it's your account, there's not going to be a whole lot I can do, but I can tell you, you don't necessarily have to have the old phone number. As long as that's your account that belongs to you, you should be able to access that from a different avenue and get whatever's there back. So, but like I said, let me know if you need any help on that, because I am kind of a tech guy, which is how I'm doing all of this. Man, my mic is hot. You guys should tell me that. I gotta turn, I gotta turn this baby down a little bit more. So the new microphone setup is a direct result of doing the dirt. And so I now have a microphone right here. I no longer have this thing that I'm having to work around and under, and it's now you get all the fancy hand movements too, because I'm free. It feels nice to be uncaged. But yeah, that's another exciting thing for Ryan there. So let's see here. JJ hasn't stopped raining to operate, and operators having to run. There's 2 dozers near my house. So, dude, I hear you, JJ. So here in Michigan, so I got back from Minnesota the week the rain really started, and it has rained like every 2 to 3 days. Like we'll have 2 or 3 days of dry, and then it will rain again, and 2 or 3 days of dry. And we had a storm come through the night before. No, it was last night. Last night we had a storm come through that was like the closest to tornado winds I have seen without it being an actual tornado. Like I was legit about to pull my kids out of their beds and bring them down to the basement. The wind was blowing so hard. The rain was, it was so intense that it was overwhelming my gutters on both the front and the back of the house. It was crazy the amount of rain that we got. So yeah, I hear you on the rain front. It's screwing everybody up in all of the trades, because I got a friend of mine that does decks, and he's way backed up because of the rain. So yeah, it's hitting everybody hard. Let's see here. Have you heard of Hills Machinery? I have not heard of Hills Machinery, but that's not saying much, because I don't really keep track of many dealers outside of the one I worked for and then our competitors in the local area. So that, don't take it as if it's, don't act like it's a small dealer because I don't know the name. I don't know any dealership names. So Brandon, a Deere Mini, are Deere Mini excavators worth it? C2550 and 60 for sale in my area. Brandon, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of Deere Minis. The cabs are super, super tight, and I'm just not a fan of the overall feel of the machine. And generally speaking, Deere's really proud of their stuff. I'm not saying they're bad machines by any means. I can tell you they're probably better than Bobcat, because you guys all know my feelings on Bobcat. But at the same time, yeah, I've just never been a fan of the Deere minis. When you start getting into the bigger Deere machines, they're not too bad. But the mini through the mid-size excavators, I've never been a fan of. So, Jackson, watching the women's gymnastics right now. We all know why you're watching the women's gymnastics. Come on, Jackson. You don't have to be coy here. This is a chat room full of guys. We all know why you're watching the women's gymnastics, and there's no judgment coming from the seat here. Scale models. So the case models, let me think about here. So my little excavator right here, the 210, and then my 1150 and my 580, those all came from the Case merchandise website, which is actually run, believe it or not, through Staples. It's silliness that Case, that's how bad Case is at marketing. Like, if you really want like Case marketing in a nutshell, they don't even have their own merchandising. Everything is run through a Staples store. So anyway, that's where I got those from, and the rest of them. So I've got my 938 loader right there, and then I've got my D5. Oops, sorry, other shoulder. It's really hard to do this backwards. My D5K right here. My mother-in-law got both of those, and I think that came from. Hang on. Let's flip over. In fact, let me do this. We'll pop open another browser window here, and I'll take you guys with me. Boom. Let's see if that took you full screen. That should have taken you full screen. It did. Okay. Die-cast models. 3,000 toys. That's where she got it from. So these guys, you know, this is just showing their cars, but you could go in here and search for Cat 349 and die-cast. Actually, let's just go to top sellers. I'm sure that'll pull it up. So there you go. You've got a 1/50th scale right there. That's a Cat 323. You've got, oh, here's a nice D6, it looks like. Yep, D6XE. There's a little pipe layer, paver. They've got everything you could want, you know, for the most part when it comes to die-cast models. So that is 3000toys.com, and that is where she got those from. So, whoops. I'm screwing myself all up here, guys. Just bear with me. Boom. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. I'm screwing myself all up. Anyways, so that's where we got the die-cast from. Let me pop back up here in the comments. Ryan, got to go check that out after the live stream. Absolutely, man. I would appreciate the support over there. Feel free to engage in the comments because they have no audience engagement over there. So if you guys want to engage in a little dialogue back and forth, that would be fantastic. But I do appreciate the support from you guys. Which, by the way, I'm going to pander for just a second. My vlog channel needs a little help. If you go down in the description of the live stream here, there should be a link for my vlog channel. And we're hovering at like 250 subscribers. I need to get that baby up over 1,000 subscribers. That will kind of boost me to where not only is it monetized, shameless plug, I want to monetize obviously, but the other thing that it does is it really helps you with the YouTube algorithm so that they kind of start putting that channel out there. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the vlog channel, do me a favor, click down in the description of this live stream right now and go subscribe to that channel if you don't mind. I would really appreciate that. So Colton, since Wayne is gone, who will be doing the new product updates on the machines? That's all me, man. I'm your host. Yes, it's me. So I'm actually working with the staff at Equipment World, kind of supporting me, because that was my exact statement, was there's no time for me to go gather all of these press releases and news updates and news bulletins and try to aggregate all of that and come up with talking points for a show weekly. Like, I just physically do not have the time to do that. And they said, nope, we've got you covered there. So they're handling all of the legwork on that. And then, you know, every once in a while we'll have an update show where we talk about the new things to the industry. And I will say, and this is not a knock on Wayne by any means, so I want to be very careful that it doesn't come off that way, but for my personal flavor, Wayne would get a little bogged down in tech specs of some of the machines, and it wasn't really, I mean, it was really bullet points. It wasn't even really user friendly, like, hey, here's a really nice update that's going to benefit the end user stuff. And I do want to try to make my product update videos kind of a little more relevant to end users, as opposed to just going down the press release and talking about all the bullet points. So I will try to be a little more concise on those. Not saying I'm going to do a great job. We'll see what happens when we get there. My first one should be here in the next couple of weeks, so we'll see what happens. Let's see here. Minnesota Films got a TikTok. Dude, I had this conversation just the other day. I do not have a TikTok, and I'm still really on the fence about getting a TikTok, simply because the biggest thing is I'm gonna fair warning, I'm just gonna sound like an old man. I'm sorry, guys, I'm gonna sound like an old man. You have people going around like endangering other people. You have people going around destroying national landmarks. You have people just generally being assholes for 15 seconds of fame on TikTok, and I really struggle getting on a platform that's causing that many issues. So that's kind of my old man rant on TikTok. I'm ultimately, I can tell you right now, I'm gonna cave, and ultimately I'm gonna end up getting a TikTok, because it's almost on a weekly basis one of you guys asks me about getting a TikTok. So you keep badgering at me, keep asking me, Minnesota, and eventually I'm gonna cave and get a TikTok. But as of right now, no, I don't have one. Colton, I'm sorry, I missed you there, Matt. My email address is thatdiggerdude@gmail.com. So if you look down below here at the little scrolling things that are going by, in a couple more, in fact, I think it's the next one that's going to pop up. It will show you my email address. Feel free to shoot me an email or get a hold of me on Instagram, whatever is easier for you. Is Sunbelt Rentals worth renting equipment from? I honestly don't know, because let me just be even more specific. I don't typically make the calls on rentals. Rick typically takes care of laying out equipment, and so I don't really know if they're worth renting from or not. I don't know what their prices compare. I do know that they were able to get me, this has been like 5 years or 6 years ago, they were able to get me a Deere 450J. It was the equivalent to a D3, and they came in pretty far under Cat and Deere, or I should say AIS, which is the Deere dealer here. So they're worth a shot, but I honestly don't know price wise. Phil, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Hope everything is good on your side of the world, man. I'm glad you're communicating now, because forever you've just been this like guy that shows up and sneakily hangs out in the background, and I'm happy to know that you're actually here, man. Andrew, the rain has really hurt paychecks, dude. That's one of the downsides on a wet year like we're having this year. I haven't had a wet year like this one since I first got into the industry. My very first year in the industry, which was about 10 to 12 years ago. I don't remember the actual math. It rained, and this was in Texas. It never rains in Texas, except for like every 7 or 8 years you get a just torrential downpour every other day. And that was my first year in the industry. It has not rained like this since that first year. So this has just been a rough year. Toker Khan, what's happening, man? Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Nick, what's going on, man? And you're like fairly well on time. You're only like 20 minutes late tonight. It's not like you're an hour and a half like you normally are. You know, I haven't even had time to roll out the red carpet for you on this one. I appreciate you being here, man. Brandon, and this is Brandon Monteverdi, not Brandon Culpepper. Any advice on how to get into heavy equipment operating? Yes, I have lots of advice, actually. So first of all, if you haven't, I'm sorry, I talked about it just a second ago. My wife made me this drink, and it's like a margarita with a twist. And so between the salt and the lime juice, it is causing me to salivate like crazy. So if I just start drooling uncontrollably, you'll have to forgive me. Anyway, to answer your question, if you haven't watched my Down and Dirty series on this channel, my Diesel and Iron main channel, go check those out, because I actually cover all of these topics, which don't feel bad. I have no problem talking about this, but I do want you to be aware that the resources there I cover a crap load of topics that are geared towards new operators getting into the industry. So check that series out. As far as getting into the industry, you have a couple different routes you can go. The first one is if you are in a union state and you have it accessible to you, you can go and apply for the apprenticeship program. If you are accepted, they will give you an admittance test, which is basically a skills test where you go in and prove that you can do some relatively basic arithmetic. You know, you're not getting super complex. You're not getting into super bad trigonometry and algebra and stuff. It's more, can you do basic arithmetic so that you can work your way around a grade rod and stuff like that. So they will give you kind of the aptitude test. And then if you pass that, you are part of the apprenticeship program. It's a 4-year apprenticeship. And then you will get your journeyman card and you will go to full journeyman pay. That's the union route. The route that I always kind of encourage people to go to, it has nothing to do with the politics. It has nothing to do with a hatred of unions or anything crazy like that. The way I typically try to encourage people to go is apply to some small to mid-sized companies. I prefer a smaller company for new guys getting into the industry because first of all, they're going to be a lot slower paced to allow you to really soak things in as they train you. And then secondly, it's going to allow you to get seat time much quicker than in a larger company because they simply need the manpower. And you're kind of a jack of all trades when you work for a small company. So, you know, you're going to end up getting a CDL most likely and learn how to drive a truck, which is a really valuable skill. You're going to learn how to actually be a grade checker and get down in the hole because that's where you're going to start. You're going to learn all of your basics. Then you're going to get moved into a seat relatively quickly. Sorry about that, guys. So now that's one of you guys from the live stream here. In fact, I'm going to silence you, and I'm sorry, Toker Khan. I'm sorry, but I am going to silence you because you're being noisy for the rest of the people in here, and I will respond to you later tonight. Anyway, you're going to get seat time relatively quickly because they need the manpower and everything. So overall, I just think it's a better way. It's a more educational way to get into the industry by going the non-union route, because when you go the union route, you are a union operator. You're not a laborer. And so you don't learn any of the labor skills, and those labor skills are valuable. They help you to become a better overall operator. And I think that's valuable to the point that I personally would like to see everyone getting into this industry spend at least a year on the end of a shovel before you even touch the seat of a machine. And I know that makes me sound like a crotchety old man, but legitimately learning those skills is that valuable. So that's what I got for you. Let's see here, JJ. I'm getting way behind here, aren't I? JJ, don't know your feelings about Bobcat. What's wrong with him? So basically, they're mini excavators. I'm not a fan of. They are super jerky, but it's not due to overall speed of the machine. It's almost like the sensitivity of the hydraulics is just crazy. So they're super jerky, super jittery. The pedals are too close, so my knees always hurt when I spend the day tracking around in them. They're loud as crap. They're some of the loudest machines on the market that I've run. Man, what else, guys? Like, if you go watch my vlogs, even for like the last 3 or 4 vlogs, I was running a Bobcat Mini, and you will hear me do nothing but bitch and moan about the Bobcat Mini. So that's the minis. The reason I don't like their skid steers is because Bobcat has kind of taken the approach that Apple took to their smartphones and their iPods, which is skid steer attachments are supposed to be universal. Like, I can take Bobcat or Case or Komatsu or Deere or Caterpillar, and it doesn't matter whose machine it is. I can slap the attachment on my skid steer, boom, and away we go. Bobcat is now making it to where they have a special chip on their attachments that you have to interface with the machine. It'll only work with Bobcat machines, and their Bobcat machines will only work with Bobcat attachments. That makes me angry. It pisses me right off. That's going down that business model that Apple did, where you're just gonna milk the snot out of your customers. I don't agree with it from a principle standpoint, and so that's why I'm just overall not a fan of Bobcat with some of the choices that they've made. So Nick, only Deere Mini I would buy is a 50G and 75G. 85 is the D. Explain that one, Nick. How is the 85 the Demon's machine? Brandon, Yes, I do. I still hate JCB. Onward. Thinking about buying you a gift for Christmas. I was thinking tobacco. Jackson, you can sit in the corner with Brandon over there. Onward. Pure operator. That's good, man. You're in the right place, Toker. Lever Monkey. Monkey, what's happening, man? Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Nick, you get the cat models from Amazon. I've poked around on Amazon. Like I said, my mother-in-law bought me the 2 models that are sitting back up on the shelf here. And she just got them from 3000 Toys. That's all I know. Colton, have you seen videos of our Case 580 SL? I have not seen videos of your 580 SL, but I have a farmer buddy down the road who also owns a 580 SL that I have actually driven and done an appraisal on and operated for a short time. So, Jackson, TikTok is stupid. I kind of feel the same way, man. I'm not a fan of TikTok. Let's see here. Do you prefer renting equipment from dealerships or rental companies like Sunbelt? Honestly, Colton, the honest truth is whoever's got the cheapest price. I mean, at the end of the day, we haven't, knock on wood here, we haven't had any issues with the machines from any of them as far as being just totally womped out pieces of crap. And so it all boils down to price. That's kind of where we're at. So I really don't have a preference. Lever Monkey and Phil confirming no TikTok. I like it. I've been feeling like this old man for so long because everyone wants me to get a TikTok. I'm so glad I have some non-TikTokers on my side. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Now I'm going to start drooling all over again. Anyway, Ryan, TikTok would definitely help reach younger audience, but I'm against the platform, and that's, in all honesty, that's my exact feelings about it. Sorry. That's my exact feelings about it is I would like to get in front of the younger audience because I think that's who would really benefit from my channel the most. But am I willing to whore myself out that bad? As of right now, I'm not. That's kind of where we're at. So, Steeler Thug started heavy machine operator school in 1 week. Any advice for someone with no previous experience? First of all, thanks for joining the channel. Thanks for joining the live stream. I appreciate you. My biggest piece of advice is stay brutally humble. It's very easy to get in these machines, and after a week or two, or a month, however long your school is, you may get a really good feel for being in the machine. You may feel like you can really operate. There's a huge difference between being able to pull the levers and make the machine move and actually doing real work on a job site and knowing all of the hazards to look out for and how to do technique-wise the correct thing. I mean, if you really want a great lesson, Lever Monkey here in the comments, go check out his channel. He does underground work, and you're gonna see some of the complexities that he gets into. It's really easy to come out of one of these schools thinking that you're a really great operator, when in reality, you've got a month of seat time in non-real world working conditions. So my biggest piece of advice will be to stay brutally humble, and really for the first 5 years of your career, be a sponge. I mean, literally just be a sponge. Soak up and pay attention to everything, because there is so much to learn in this industry. But it's a blast. And so my next piece of advice would be have fun. Don't let, this industry unfortunately has kind of a negative vibe when you get on the job site, because people communicate by yelling and because there's often deadlines and lots of money on the table. People are terrible communicators, and it's awful. It's typically high tension. Don't let that get to you. Enjoy it. Have fun. At the end of the day, we get paid to play on huge Tonka toys in the dirt. That's awesome. Don't ever lose sight of that. That's freaking awesome. And you get to look back at the end of the season at the huge thing you just built, whether it's a road or a building or putting pipe in the ground. Like, you've physically put some infrastructure in that people are going to use. So don't lose sight of that. Have fun with the industry. Colton, since you were a Case salesman, you have Caterpillar scale models. I got both, man. So my ultimate goal is I would love to have a die cast for everything I've ran or sold. And so my D5K back here, I spent 2.5 years running one of those solid, doing finished grades for a residential company. The 938 loader that's up above me on the shelf there, I spent 2.5 years running for a pipe crew. That was my baby. I became very intimate with the 938K. In fact, that one's really got a special place for me because I spent so many hours in that machine running my balls off. The 580 backhoe back there, again, the residential company, I spent a fair amount of time doing sumps and small digs where we didn't have room to get our 315 excavator in. I spent a fair amount of time running the 580. The 1150, obviously you guys have seen it on my vlog. I've run an 1150 doing multiple grading projects. And then the 210D, that was on the same project as the 1150. I've spent a lot of time in a 210, even outside of that project that I put on my vlog. So all of these machines back here, while they are not all Deere or Case or Cat, or I have a smattering because I really want to own all the die casts of things that I've run. Ultimately, I want this whole room to be shelved with the die cast models of all the equipment I've run over the years. I think that would just be kind of cool. And it would be something cool that when I eventually die, that my kids can inherit and they'd have their dad's cool die cast collection. So Northeast Ohio farmer, what's happening? Thanks for coming out, man. Appreciate it. Let's see here. I can grade better than you with a skid steer. You know what? you may end up eating those words, Northeast Ohio farmer. I'm gonna come show you a thing or two. He sent me, just so you guys know, he sent me a picture of some grade work he was doing in his skid earlier this week, and we were going back and forth. So that's a continuation of that conversation. Colton's, do you like equipment brochures? Yeah, they're okay. I mean, what I really like about them is the specs portion of it, so that I can go through and actually take a look at the machine and what it's capable of, what it's rated for, and some of that stuff. The rest of it's really just fluff. I would far rather get into the machine and put it through its paces than read about all the fancy features they put into it. Like, let me get my hands on it and see how handy the features actually are. Because as you guys are all aware, manufacturers love to put bells and whistles on that you don't ever use or are actually a pain in the ass. And a great example of that is that Case 210D I was just talking about. They, on your right hand joystick with your trigger, that is actually a single wipe of the windshield wiper. I had no idea that's what that was. I accidentally hit it like 4 days in a row on this job I was working with Rick, and I've poked fun at myself in my vlogs while I did it, because the windshield wiper would just randomly fire off. I had no idea what was causing it. It wasn't until like the third or fourth time that I realized it was that trigger. That's one of those fancy features that you're going to see in a brochure about how convenient it is. The reality of the situation is it's a giant pain in the ass, and it's really inconvenient because you accidentally bump it all the time, and then you just have this windshield wiper go across and you don't have a window down. So it's irritating. So let's see here. 4 years in a shovel before I got any seat time, and I'm only in a two-man company. Dude, Ryan, but look, I guarantee you, if I were to really sit down and talk to you, you are fully confident that you could go on a job and be in a machine by yourself and be able to do all of the functions you need to do. You know all of the details. And that's the difference between someone who spent the years on the shovel versus someone who's only been an operator. Is you don't if you don't have a laborer, you're stuck. You don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know what the guy down in the hole's doing. You don't know what the proper procedure and what the proper what code is and stuff like that. There's so much valuable learning that goes in on the end of a shovel. So Kelvin, what's happening, man? Thanks for coming out. Sorry, I went and had my brain shut down for a second because I was reading and trying to figure out how to spell or pronounce your last name, but then I actually read what you were saying, hence the weird pause there. But how's it going? Appreciate you showing up. Some tips for how to set your hands when you're going to make a trench. So if you go, I want to say like 3 weeks back in my Down and Dirties, maybe 4, I don't remember exactly when it posted. I have a video that is how to set your hands for grading. It's going to be the exact same whether you're doing a trench or you're just grading on the surface. I would highly recommend you go watch that video. But essentially what I do when I'm grading, or at least when I was starting out, is pick the boom or the stick. that's something that's going to be consistent in your pull. And for me, it's I'm gonna stick in with a consistent speed. That speed is not going to change, and I'm going to vary my boom speed to keep my bucket nice and level. And you know, that's really hard to explain without actually seeing it, so go watch the Down and Dirty when you get a chance. But that's how I personally did it when I was learning. And what happens over time is you're going to get to where you can visually see when you're making a level pass, and you're actually using the stick and the boom independently and changing the speed at the same time, because you just get that familiar with the machine. But at least starting out, that's what I would encourage you to do, is stick in at a very consistent, constant speed, and vary your boom speed for your height. And that will kind of make it easier for your brain to kind of stay together with everything and keep it level. JJ, thoughts on Kobelco excavators? Ooh, I can tell you're relatively new to the live streams. I love Kobelco excavators. I absolutely love them. I sold them, and I had never really, I'd heard of Kobelco before I started selling them, but never really been around them at all. And I thought they were kind of like one of these off brands like Saney. Instead, what I found was Kobelco only makes excavators and cranes, and they excel at it. They do such a great job. They put out a really nice product. They have a crap load of power. They're really smooth. They're some of the faster machines on the market, in my opinion. I haven't full on tested them side by side with any machine, but just from running machines, you know how it is. After you've run machines for so many years, you get in one in particular and you go, oh wow, this is a pretty zippy machine. That was always my feelings with Kobelco. And my favorite part, yes, Nick, exactly. The water drops there drew my attention to your comment 100%. I love Kobelco. I love them. They put a bunch of features on their machines that none of the other manufacturers really do. They put together an awesome machine. I love Kobelco. Let's see here. Sean, bringing it in. Another one for the No TikTok team. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, guys. Thank you. Ryan, that's true. Will I whore myself out, and for what price? That is the question. Absolutely. Remind me your name, Lever Monkey. It's not Mike, is it? I can't remember. I'm sorry. I told you this was going to happen. I'm going to have to ask you like 3 or 4 times. I'll eventually get it. But I'm 100% there with you. At the end of the day, even if you're having the worst day, you're still outside getting to play in the dirt. And it's hard to be mad when you've just spent the entire day outside playing in the dirt. So I love it. It never gets old. It never gets old. Consistently every year, we would get towards the fall, the mad dash, you're working 7 days a week, you're working 12 to 14 hour days, sometimes 16 hour days, because everyone's just push, because here in the north you only get so long in the work season. And so by the end of it, you're just totally burnt out, and you're just like, I don't ever want to show up at another job site again. I'm done. And without fail, every year within like 3 weeks of being in the layoff, I'm like, man, I really want to get back in a seat of a piece of equipment. Every year. It never gets old. It's just fun. So, Toker, absolutely, you got it. Lever Monkey, it's an operator that gets 2 to 3 years as lead digger, and I'm surprised they can get their head in the cab. Yeah, that's 100%. Humility goes so far in this industry. There's one thing, and I actually mentioned it in the comments section on one of my videos where someone was giving me a hard time about something about how they were king dingling operator. There's one thing that is 100% consistent in this industry. The guy who comes to the job site and talks the loudest is the shittiest operator. Hands down, every time. I have yet to meet a good operator that comes and mouths off. Without fail, the ones who mouth off are always terrible. And so the best thing to do is just stay humble and keep your mouth shut. If someone asks if you're a decent operator, go, yeah, I'm okay. I'm a decent operator. That's not bragging. You're staying humble. You're letting them know you know the machine. And generally when someone says, yeah, I'm a decent operator, they're actually a really good operator. So keep your mouth shut. That's great advice. Ryan, anytime we do a septic bed now, I usually lead the job, even when the owner is there as the guy with the grade rod. I'm pretty much in charge of all the grades and everything. That's it. That's exactly how it works, Ryan. And I'm sure, even though it sucks, having been on a shovel for 4 years, looking back on it, you wouldn't give any of that experience up. That's exactly how I feel about my background. You know, I spent a long time on the shovel. It wasn't 4 years, but I think it was probably 1.5 years, 2 years really working a shovel, and I wouldn't give any of it back. That's some of my most valuable experience that I have in the industry. Steeler Thug, yeah, absolutely, man. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We get on here for the live stream and we have fun. There's a lot of regulars in here, but the ultimate goal of this live stream, the ultimate purpose and why we do it, is to get my goal anyway, is to get a bunch of operators in here so that we can all answer questions for new guys in the industry. So you're not taking away from the conversation by coming to a screeching halt so we can answer a question. That's why we're all here. So feel free to ask away. Likewise, feel free to message me if you've got questions, or if you've got a video topic you want to see covered on the Down and Dirties, let me know and I'll do my best to get something out for you. Kelvin, absolutely, you got it. Let's see here, Leverman. Not a fan of the older Cabelcos, but they're 350. So that's funny. I keep meaning to ask you actually on the comments of your videos, Lever Monkey, on what your thoughts are with the Cabelcos, because you always seem to be in either a deer or a Cabelco. The new ones. So I will admit too, I haven't run any of the old ones. But the new ones are just really quick, snappy machines, and they're really smooth in my opinion. And I do love that crane function that they've got on them. But Lever Monkey's probably the one to really talk to, since he's doing like the heavy duty underground work, and I haven't ever been in that situation in a Cabelco. So he's going to be a better judge there. Ryan can vouch for Kubota equipment. Really like the Mini and prefer the skid steer over Cat. Cat is a lot smoother, but I found the controls laggy and the cab is tiny. I'll tell you the other thing that drives me nuts on the Cat, the skid steer in particular, that freaking front door. If you spend that much money on a Caterpillar machine, the front door should not feel like it's a piece of plexiglass from the back aisle of Home Depot. And that's what every single one of those freaking Cat doors feels like to me. It's like every time I go to open it, the whole thing like womps out, and I'm afraid I'm gonna break the glass. I know they built it tough, you know, obviously, because you don't break them all the time, but just the flimsy feel to it is real cheesy in my opinion. So, but that being said, to kind of back what you said, everyone I've ever come across loves Kubota skids. I was a fan for, you know, I just played around in one for an hour or so, but I really like the Kubota skids. They're really nice machines. And I haven't really spent any time in a Kubota Mini, so I can't really say anything there. Nick tried first Cat skid steer. It was a 259 next gen, and it can push. Huh? I may have to try. I will say this: what seems to be the consistent, like, across the board resounding statement from everyone is the next gen machines have taken it to a new level. Like the excavators, I hear a ton of positive things about. Skid steers, I'm now hearing positive things about. The new D6 XE, I was watching a guy run one and compared it to a T series even. That XE was pushing like nobody's business. So I'm excited to get into some of the next gen machines. My farmer buddy down the road here, Lance, actually has one of the new 315 excavators, which isn't the old school 315 that we're familiar with. It's actually like a large mid-size excavator. I was not expecting that. But anyway, I need to go get down the road finally and spend some time in the seat of that machine and really play with one of the new next gen hoes. So we'll get there eventually. It's on my agenda, maybe once the season winds down a little bit. Oh, Shane, that's right. Not even close to Mike. We'll get there, Shane. I'm sorry. Give me like two or three more gimmies, and then you can start giving me some shit for it. We compared 350 case and 350 Kobelco on the same job, and the Kobelco was so much faster all the way around. Yeah, that was my experience too. I think it's Merrick, right? That was my experience too with Kobelcos, is they were just fast machines, and that's not even getting into their 210 hybrid machine. That hybrid machine has electric swing motors, so all of your bucket and boom functions and stick functions are at full speed while you're turning the machine. It's just a beast of a machine. It is fast. Ryan just got to drive the 289D around, and it wasn't fast enough to flick the pallet forks into the bucket. Huh, well, you know, it is what it is. Colton, do you like ASV skid steers? I can't tell you one way or another because I've never run one. The only thing I will say is you're not going to be able to compete with them when it comes to flotation, but at the same time they have a really expensive undercarriage to maintain. Outside of that, I have no opinion because I've never run one. So go hit up upstate New York Brush Control, because he runs the snot out of his. Nick, when I get asked if I'm good, I always say no. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is half the time that's my response too, is no, not really. You know, I got sent here because they wanted to get rid of me on the other job. So whew, that's just, it's good, but every time it punches you in the mouth. Woo. Let's see here. Ben over garage. What can you go to start operating without union or school? Ben over garage. Good question. Find a small company, small residential companies in your area that do basement digs and finish grades and general land clearing, stuff like that. That's a great place to get started because they won't require you to have any training. They are happy to train as long as you are a reliable, dependable employee. That is the only thing the industry is looking for right now, is someone who will consistently show up to work and who will stay off their cell phone. I mean, honestly, if you can do those two things, then you're heads above most of the other applicants. So that's a great place to get started. And they will also be willing to train you, and they will get you in the seat a lot quicker than a lot of other companies. So Shane, love to be able to join you on a stream. Let's communicate back and forth on that, because I actually have a platform that I'm using for recording the dirt with my interviews that I've found out I can actually bring in a second or third or fourth. I can bring in like 4 people, and we can all chat live together with each other. So let's communicate back and forth on that, because we can absolutely make that happen. That would be a great stream. So like I said, I'm out of town next week, but let's start having that conversation, and maybe here in the next couple of weeks we can do a live stream together. That'd be awesome. Let's see here. Where was that? I lost my place? Here we go. Being on a shovel makes it a lot easier to learn what's needed for each job itself. Find being an operator focuses on the machine itself, and the rest of the job is 100%. If you haven't ever been on the end of a shovel, and a perfect example, you may take a pass with your excavator, and if you've never been on the end of a shovel, you think, oh, that little bit of dirt right there, the laborer can just toss that up with his shovel and it's no big deal. Because you've never been down in the hole, you don't realize that dirt clod that you just left, that looks like it's this big, is actually about this big, and it weighs about 50 to 80 pounds, and your laborer's got to manhandle that because you didn't think it was worth your time to grab. That's a small example, but even that being a small example, that's an example of where, had you spent some time on the end of the shovel, you'd realize the value in, no, it's absolutely worth your time to make your laborer's life a little easier to go grab that dirt clump and whatever else you left there, all those crumbs. So it's small things like that, but that also translates to much bigger things on the job that you don't pay attention to if you've never had to do it. So boom. Arian, is it E Ryan? We're going E Ryan because Arian sounds too much like Arian, and we're not going there. E Ryan, think Bobcat skid steers are junk. That's the other thing too, they're not built that well. In all honesty, Bobcat skid steers are not built that well, and so on top of all the other reasons I gave, they're just not that great of machines. So eFix just picked up our new TR270B, and we're really, the B series eFix, which by the way, good to see you, man. The B series are awesome, and so far they are getting rave reviews from everyone. Sorry, got a little salt going. As far as reliability and dependability, which was, as everyone knows, the Alpha Series' big downfall. Yeah, the B Series, they are freaking awesome machines. I love the new cab. I love the screen in the cab. The creep function, I know Cat's already had that, but they've added a lot of stuff to those B Series machines. They're really nice machines. Andrew, just started with a new company. Me and one other guy got hired as an operator. I was humble, and he was claiming he was the greatest. He is trash, can't do anything. That's it. It's every job I've been on, it is consistent. The guys who talk the loudest are the worst operators. It never fails. And so, yes, just as long as you're humble, you will go a long way in this industry. Let's see here. Ryan, front door is terrible. I thought the thing was going. That's it. That's 100%. Ryan is going back to our discussion of the cat machine. Yeah, the door is awful. It's so freaking flimsy. Boom. Nick, I want to try them. We're gonna back up. I'm gonna read this exactly as Nick said it because I'm digging it. I want to try them next gen dozers so bad. And sweet Jesus, Nick, I do too. I want to try them dozers so fucking bad. I do. I really do. They are legitimate pushing machines. Watching that guy, and if you go back, man, it's been like a month and a half, 2 months now that I posted the video of the guy running the D6XE. Dude, that thing was a beast. It was out pushing a D6T all day long. I didn't have one side by side, but I ran a D6T long enough to know, like, it was, oh my god, it was awesome. It was awesome watching that machine push. Let's see here. What does ASV stand for? To the internet. What does ASV stand for? Adaptive servo ventilation? I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. Let's see if we can scroll down here. Let's try skid steer. ASV Holdings. I don't know that it stands. I don't think it stands for anything. The cool history, I'm not going to get into this because we don't have time for everyone to sit here and watch me read. I'll tell you what, do some homework and email me a book report on what you found out, and we'll discuss it next week or the week after, because I won't be here next week. For those of you who are here now in the chat, we will not be live next week because I will be out of town. So we're going to skip a week. Anyway, Ryan, I'm trying to think of something AAC could stand for that would follow the lines of Dirt Monkey being in bed with them. That's good. You call Daewoo the woo? I could get down with the woo. Nick, my wife made me this margarita twist drink. As you know, we kind of, my wife specifically mixes up a bunch of funky concoctions. So this has got tequila infused with jalapenos in it. It's got some limoncello, which I don't even remember exactly how she makes limoncello. I think that's vodka infused with lemon. And then it's got a real margarita flavor to it. But then the salt she put on it also is infused with something. So it's causing me to drool like crazy every time I take a drink. It's delicious, but it really makes you salivate. So, Colton, opinion on Yanmar? I love them. Honestly, no bells and whistles machines. You can get into them for an extremely affordable price, and they're really reliable, dependable machines. I think they're fantastic. I love Yanmar machines. I actually helped one of my old customers just get into a Yanmar machine recently, and they are absolutely thrilled to death with it. They're really, really good excavators. Have you done any excavator challenges like trying to stack up coins? No. Honestly, no. I mean, it's fun to do those. I've played around stacking rocks when I'm waiting for trucks and stuff like that, but no, I've never done any like full-on operator challenges, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I don't even know what to compare it to, like competitive shooting. Just because you can shoot these targets at a ridiculously high rate of speed does not mean that if someone broke into your house that you would be able to effectively kill that person with a regular firearm. It's a different skill set, it's a different thing that you've practiced, and so it doesn't necessarily apply to real world conditions. And that may not be the best example, but you kind of get where I'm going, to where a lot of these guys that just practice for these challenges and do awesome at them, and it's really impressive, don't get me wrong, it's super impressive that they do that. It doesn't exactly translate over to you can run a machine on a job site and work around power lines and live utilities and have a guy down in the trench box that you're not slamming with material all the time because you're swinging your bucket over top of them. So it's always been like that would be fun to do, but at the same time, Mike George, thank you for donating to the channel. I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. So I will get down to your question here in just a minute. Let me get back to where I was in the comments. You distracted me by donating money, which is awesome. I really do appreciate that. Let's see here. Boom. Have you tried? Okay, there we go. We accidentally got it with high flow. Might try it out this winter with the blower. At the end of the day, it's an added expense, obviously, which is probably the biggest downside. The second biggest downside is you now have a second set of hydraulics that could develop leaks, but at the same time, we never really had that big of an issue when I was selling them. So yeah, absolutely throw a high flow blower on that sucker and get it clipping. Just make sure, well, never mind. Yeah. I'm just sorry. Total brain fart. Was gonna say something, then realized it was dumb, so I didn't say it, and so now I just look dumb because I'm bumbling all over. Onward with the comments. What do you think of the ASV undercarriage in mud? Upstate is hardly ever in mud, and Ohio here, can't imagine trying to deal with the muck out of those little wheels. Merrick, I honestly don't know, because I haven't even been around an ASV. I know what they are. I've seen them, and there's guys around here that use them, but me personally, I've never actually been around an ASV machine. But I would have to agree with you. That would be a giant pain in the ass to try to clean those tracks for transport. And I have no idea how they handle the mud as far as throwing a track. I really have no experience with those machines. Excuse me. Tomorrow I have a day off, but said yes to go run a little 301 for a buddy. Dude, that's the way it is in the industry. We all secretly love it so much that even on our off days, we would rather go run a piece of equipment. I'm the same way. Like, people, when you look at what my job is, to sit here and talk and get paid to talk, I'd way rather be sitting in the seat of a machine. Like I tell my kids all the time, I legitimately quit operating for my children. I did not do it because I wanted to quit operating. I love operating. So I'm right there with you, man. Colton, does Case still make the Alpha Series? No, they are no longer making Alpha Series. They stopped making Alpha Series. I want to say the first B series started to roll out towards the end of, I'm sorry, not the end, the beginning of last year, so 2020. So they are no longer making Alpha Series units. In fact, a lot of the Alpha Series units that were coming off of the line right before they switched to Bs had some of the upgrades done to them. So not necessarily like the in-cab upgrades, but more like wiring harness fixes, more protection for around your drive lines and stuff like that. JJ, ever done a land clearing job with a dozer? Not full on land clearing with a dozer. I've always been aided with another machine. So yes, I've shoved some trees over, but not like a full on clearing job with only a dozer to use. I've always had an excavator there as well. Here in Michigan, we've got super thin, skinny, tall trees, and so it's really nice to have an excavator to just shove them over, and you can pop them right out of the ground, and for the most part, it's pretty easy. Colton's, my neighbor works Caterpillar. He does bucket welding. Hey, there you go. I almost went to work for Caterpillar, but at the same time, the pay just wasn't where I wanted it to be, and they were wanting me to go back to inside sales, and I had no interest in going back to inside sales once you've done outside sales. So JJ, land clearing chances of meeting hornets or bees is extremely high. Oh, Yeah, 100%. So I will say this: I did work on a job last year with Rick, and I had an enclosed cab skid. We were running Rick's TV 450, and we did hit a pocket of ground bees, and they were all over the place. So yeah, I would highly advise having an enclosed cab doing land clearing. Mike, how does a semi-good operator prove his or herself when the super is a know-it-all and better than everyone else? The honest answer, you can go two routes depending on the type of man that you are. I've never been a suck-up, and I'm not judging people who take that route, especially if you do have a difficult soup to impress. Sometimes you gotta suck it up, and you gotta suck up. That's one route. The other route is, in all honesty, keep your head down, keep doing what you're doing. And if you are a good operator, someone will eventually notice you, even if it's not your direct supervisor. It could be someone else in the company, or it could be, in this day and age, it very well could be a soup for another company that watches you and approaches you and says, hey, would you like a job? A third possible option is, it's very easy still to think that you have a good job now and it would be dumb to leave that job. But as operators and laborers, as tradesmen in general, we are in a very unique time to where you can almost go wherever you want if you're worth anything. The industry is hurting so bad for operators right now. I would almost encourage you not to waste your time trying to prove anything to that guy. I would say start poking around and see if you can find a better company. And, you know, who knows? There might even be a better opportunity to where you can bump your pay up a little bit too at the same time. And that way you'd be appreciated, you'd have a better boss, and you might get a pay raise out of it. So I'll just throw that to you as well. Maybe do a little poking around. You know, it'll never hurt. So, and thanks again for the cash, man. I really do appreciate that. Nick, question for you. Would you rather have a brand new Komatsu WA320 or a couple-year-old 938K? For snow removal with metal, I like the 938. I really do. Now I say that I haven't been, because you said brand new, I have not been in one of the brand new WA320s, but if they've kept the cab design pretty much the same as previous models, I would prefer the 938K hands down. I was not a fan of the cab design on the WA320s. It was just small, and it wasn't designed well to where you had room in that cab. Like my lunch would either sit up here where my arm, you know, was kind of trying to operate like this, or there was barely enough room on the floor beside me, and then it's, you know, kind of sliding over by the pedals, versus the cab machine. Like, that was a legit big cab. I feel like you could have almost fit a training seat in beside the main seat of the 938K. So I personally would take the 938. I just like it. Hey Mike, that's okay, man. We'll get you up here to the northern states, get you in one of those union seats, and then you can start donating weekly in like $20 or $30 increments. Brandon, back, had to finish shoveling the whole... I don't know if that's some sexual term. It's making me a little uncomfortable to read that, Brandon. I don't know what's going on there with shoveling your girlfriend's hole, but I feel like that would make yeah, that's uncomfortable. Shane, see, I'm starting to remember. I told you, first option on all overtime, so I went to work today for 5 hours. Dude, that's awesome. That's great. And that's the nice thing about being a good mainline hoe operator, is you kind of get to call whatever you want. You get to call the shots to an extent. That's pretty awesome. I do envy your position to an extent, Shane. I don't envy the situations you have to deal with all the utilities and super tight digging quarters, but I do envy being the mainline hoe operator on big digs and getting to be around some of the equipment you do. And obviously the clout of being a mainline hoe operator, you know, that's pretty slick too. Dustin, that door sucks so bad. That's why we have cat skid steers, man. The door sucks. Yeah, I will confirm that. The cat skid steer door just sucks. Colton's, Bobcat, an American company. That's a good question. I don't know, honestly. I guess I had always assumed that they were, but I don't know. Bobcat. to the Googles. Is Bobcat an American company? Bobcat Company is an American-based manufacturer, part of Doosan Group. Oh, that's right. They just got bought by Doosan. I forgot about that. Headquarters is out of West Fargo, North Dakota. Neato. So yes, they are an American company until they got bought by a Korean company. Dustin, we have a next gen 299 skid steer and it has a D3 motor in it for what I'm told it can really push. So that's actually pretty common. Most of your manufacturers, when you start really looking, you only have a handful of motors that are powering a lot of the equipment. So what you're really looking at is the horsepower ratings, because I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I want to say the 580 backhoe, the Case TV 450 skid steer, the 850 dozer, maybe it's a 750. All three of those have the exact same engine in them, and it's their 90 horse motor. So that doesn't shock me at all that Cat does the same thing, that they're going to use the same motor for the same horsepower range. A lot of times too, you'll actually have the same motor. So you may have the same motor in like one of your 75 horse machines, but it's been detuned and derated so that it falls under that 75 horse threshold, so they don't have to do all the emission stuff to it, which can work to your advantage if you know someone who can tune those engines, because you can throw a programmer on there, you can do a delete of all of your emission stuff, and then you can bump them up to their regular running rate of 90 horsepower. So it's all in how you play it. Have you ran an old IH backhoe? I have not. When you say IH, you're talking like the old school Case or what? I don't know. I don't think so. Why do some dealers are having equipment shortage this year? So the biggest reason equipment dealers are having shortages this year is a holdover from COVID. So you've got multiple things happening in the manufacturing world, and I know this because I am from the Michigan area, which, as you guys all know, is super heavy automotive. So let's start with the equipment specific things. So you've had steel shortages because of not only just regular shortages, but you've had all of the trade war stuff going back and forth that has caused issues. You then have had COVID, which has created huge problems in all of the factories, because they've been, over the last year, they were trying to control COVID within the factories, and they would have shutdowns whenever they would have a COVID case in the factory. That put schedules way behind. Then you get into bigger manufacturing issues overall. There have been shortages in the microchips area because of issues overseas with where the manufacturers that get us microchips, and because all of our machines have computers on them these days, that means when there's a microchip shortage, you can't ship anything. So car manufacturers right now are having huge supply chain issues. Equipment manufacturers, electronics manufacturers, computer manufacturers. I mean, that has been the biggest detriment to most industries, is the microchip shortage. So all of those combine, and you have this place that we're in right now where people are really having a hard time getting their hands on new machines. Nick, 100%. If you are a decent operator, you can pretty much go work wherever you want. So Shane, you're paid to do a job. Do it well and you'll get noticed eventually. A big emphasis on eventually, because I worked for Dan's Excavating. It was a 300+ employee company. It took a long time to get noticed, but people did notice, and eventually I got picked up by a crew, and then eventually I got picked up by a pipe crew because they noticed that I was doing a really good job. So it just takes time. Just stick at it. But obviously, like I said, if you do have one of those supervisors, you may just want to move on down the road, because the biggest thing I'll say is so many people in any industry, it's not even our industry, in any industry, just get into this box where they feel like I've got a safe place right here at the company I've worked for the past 5 years or whatever it is, and I don't want to lose that safe place. And so what they do is they just start putting up with anything and everything that the company throws at them. And that's not a good place to be, because at the end of the day, you don't owe your company anything. You are providing a service, kind of along exactly what Shane just said. You're paid to do this job here, and in return, they give you your pay. So a lot of people also get into this mindset that they owe the company because the company has done this great service to them, because they've been nice to them, or your pay has always been on time, or silly little things. But at the same time, how ridiculous would it be if the company wasn't allowed to get upset when you showed up to work late every day, or you only half-assed did your job? Like, you're not going above and beyond by showing up on time and doing your job. That's your portion of the deal. Likewise, the company paying you and giving you time off when you're sick and doing all of these other things for you, that's their end of the bargain. And so just be careful not to get locked into this box of, I have a safe place and I'm going to stay here and I'm just going to put up with everything because they've relatively been good to me. No, you need to go take care of you. At the end of the day, you're responsible for you. Go take care of you. And if you're not being appreciated where you're at, move on down the road and find someone that really will, really will appreciate you. Nick, yep, me too. Buddy asked me because he bought 2 brand new Komatsu and the cabs, same as the old one, 930. Yeah, that was my biggest beef. So I had 2 beefs with the WA320, the cab design, and it needed more counterweight. Excuse me, pardon me. One more time. Yeah, it needed more counterweight. So I was able to go, we had a big old fat trench box on this one job, and I tried to get it with my 320 and just could not. The ass just picked right up off the ground. And so I ran down the road. This was before I was given a 938. I went down the road and grabbed the Pipe Cruise 938 and took that over there. And she got light in the back for sure, but no problem. It was able to pick that trench box up and run it down the road with no issue. So that's kind of what really sold me on the 938 over the 320. And then Shane comes back with the new 320 is much better than before. So I don't know, verdict's out. I guess I need to, Komatsu, hook me up with a new 320 that I can play around in, and I'll let you know for sure. Nick chooses the cat. Well, you know. Brandon, the dirt hole. The one where she wouldn't let me get a mini for, and I only had to dig by hand. So you're digging your wife's dirt hole by hand instead of using a machine. Again, are we talking about real dirt and a real dirt hole, or are we talking about some foreign sex toy that none of us are aware of? Brandon, you're gonna have to be more specific here. Yeah, Brian, he's been working on it for weeks now. Who knew? It just took him talking about his wife's dirt hole to make me uncomfortable. Woohoo! Hi. Tart and tangy. Heavy equipment operator 97. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate you joining us. Oh my lord. Sorry guys. For those of you who just showed up, my drink makes me salivate like crazy because it's very salty and very tangy. Whew. It is intense, but delicious. You're talking about an International Harvest? No, I haven't. I didn't even know International Harvester actually made backhoes. Oh, and he left. We'll see you in 2 weeks, man. I appreciate you hanging out, even though I was just getting your question. JJ, here lane clearing is a nightmare. Most of the times just a dozer alone. Trees here are beasts, and trains are mostly slopes and steep slopes. Where are you from, JJ? Just out of curiosity. I will say where I'm originally from, Texas, I can't imagine trying to take those oak trees down with anything other than an excavator. Just because so many of the branches, those are real bushy trees. They bush way out and the branches hang down. And I don't know how you would get a dozer safely in there without just tearing the crap out of the dozer, breaking windows and stuff like that. So I'm a fan of using an excavator. Bravo 9. Anyone else seeing issues with Cat 745 transmissions? I don't know, because I haven't been around that size off-road truck in quite a while. So we will have to rely on people in the comments to answer that one. Ryan, at Brandon, you've been trying for so long, now he's suspect to everything. That's it. I constantly tell my kids, the world is what you make it. The decisions on how you handle yourself, that decides how people react to you. And because Brandon has been trying to make me uncomfortable for so long, I have no choice but to not believe him. Nick, have a good week, man. Thanks for hanging out. I do appreciate you. Which, by the way, guys, let's go another 15 minutes and we'll wrap up a little early tonight because I'm still recovering from the sister and the brother-in-law being in town with all the kids. And I'd like a quiet evening without children running around my feet. So let's do another 15 minutes. Oh, Brandon, been trying for a while. Bland the girlfriend. Wanted a koi pond. That's right. And I said, let's get a mini, get it done in a day. And instead it's taken a month. Yeah, I'm sorry. The second you say koi pond and hand dug, I'm out. I'm just out. Not going to participate in that project. So one of my really good friends has Jacuzzi's biggest hot tub. It's the biggest hot tub they make. And he wanted to move it by hand. And I said, no, I will help you find a machine for a reasonable price and I will help you move it. I'm not going to move a 10-person hot tub by hand using PVC pipes and like old school Egyptian manpower. So koi pond, same boat there. I'm not hand digging a koi pond. Ain't gonna happen. Any tips for having an excavation business where there's a lot of competition, wanting to stick out with pride of work, but also needing tips to draw customers? So the honest truth I would say is let's back up. What kind of work are you in? Are you working for primarily homeowners on the residential side, land clearing, stuff like that? Or are you looking for, what am I trying to say? Commercial work. Like, are you doing business to business or are you doing business to customer type transactions? Because that's going to decide kind of how you want to approach this. Mike coming in again with another $1.99. Man, they must have bumped your pay up. I appreciate it, man. I really do. That's awesome. Hey Ryan, heard some issues from people about the 745 shifting hard. I haven't even gotten to sit in one of the new 745s yet. Ryan still laughing about the silk panties response to Brandon. You know, I can play ball to an extent, but when you're talking about digging your wife's dirty hole with a machine, I can't go that. I feel like I'm violating some line there. So, Merrick, a couple months ago, you were talking about possibly doing a new pond build. Did that fall through? Yes. Unfortunately, the big pond that we were talking about doing did fall through. It was going to end up costing the guy like 70 grand by the time we were all said and done with what it was a massive dig. It was a massive project. So when he finally accepted reality of what it was going to cost, he backed down. But that being said, there is another one possibly coming in the future. We will see. It's still kind of on the fence of whether we're going to do it or not. But yeah, I will absolutely document the whole process if we get a pond dig for sure. JJ from Puerto Rico, live at the center of the island, which is all mountainous area. Oh, I can only imagine trying to clear trees in the center of Puerto Rico in the mountains with a dozer. That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. So Tim, okay, so knowing that, here's my advice. So first of all, the job that you do, as you are very aware from what you just stated, the job that you do is everything. And so always do a great job. And now there's something I also want to tell you, and this is something that I've actually learned from my buddy Rick. Always have a contract and always be able to reference back to the contract, and don't do anything above and beyond the contract. And I'm not saying just be an ass to the homeowner and be like, nope. But what often happens, as you probably well know with a lot of these customers, is you go out there and you've agreed to do this, and this, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, while you're out here, it'll take like 10 minutes. Would you mind doing this? Oh, hey, while you're out here, will you do this? Hey, while you're out here. And it's very easy to get sucked down into this wormhole of you spend an extra 4 hours on a job that's totally free because they wanted all this like small stuff done, and all of it's really small. Yeah, by itself, it's all really small, but for you, that's 4 hours of your time where you're not making money elsewhere. It's 4 hours of fuel. It's 4 hours of maintenance cost. That's substantial money. So what I will encourage you to do, and I know this isn't answering your question directly, but make sure you have a contract on the job. You're very thorough and very clear. And what I learned from sales is don't leave anything to an assumption that the homeowner is going to know. Be unambiguous that these are the things that are getting done and nothing more. If restoration is not part of the job, make sure you put restoration is not part of the job. You need to be very clear with them so you don't get yourself into trouble on the back end. Now, that being said, everything that's on that contract, do a great job on it, because that is everything, and that's going to help you with the word of mouth aspect. As far as marketing goes and getting more jobs, Facebook marketing. So learn how to use the Facebook marketing tool and learn how to dial into your specific clientele, and then like legitimately go spend $1,500 a month or so on Facebook marketing, and it will start generating serious leads. My buddy, excuse me, my buddy Rick that I work with all the time, that's essentially how he's grown his entire business, is off of Facebook advertising. It's really, really effective. Once you start getting the filters dialed in to where you're hitting your demographic that you want, it's really, really effective marketing, and it is a dial. If you turn it up to $2,500 a month, you're going to get about twice the number of leads off of it that you were getting. If you dial it way down, it's going to dial your leads down. It's almost like a knob for leads, and it's really effective. Andrew, going to shoot you an email tonight or tomorrow. Would like to get on a video with you and talk about some of what I've done. Pile driving, marine construction, some underground mining. I'm all for it, man. I'm absolutely all for it. So if we're going to do that, what I would say is make sure, and this is for Shane, I don't know if Shane's still here or not, but for both of you guys, well, I know Shane's got a decent camera and microphone because of his channel, but if we're going to do the live thing with you, Andrew, make sure you got a decent camera and a decent microphone, and we can absolutely, whether it's a live or just doing a video talking about your experience, we can work something out. So shoot me an email. I'd love to talk. JJ, I need to come to, you said Costa Rica or Puerto? No, I'm getting myself backwards here. Where are you at? JJ, where are you at? I lost your comment. There it is. Puerto Rico. Yeah, I need to come to Puerto Rico and see you. I think it'd be awesome to do some island work and then hit the beach, obviously, because I'm going to be a sweaty mess and I need to hit the beach. Thanks again. Gain some good knowledge from all your content. I appreciate you. Good night. Hey, Mike, hopefully you're still here. If not, maybe you'll see it in the afterwards, but thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Obviously, thank you for the donations and the support. I am here to serve you guys. Like I said, if you got any questions, if you've got anything you want to know more about, if I don't have an answer, I will go find you one. I appreciate it, brother. Have a good evening. I'm not cutting into mama time for sure. I'm not going down that road. Shane, sent you a message on Facebook page. Okay, I will sometime this week. I can't guarantee it's going to be tomorrow, Shane, because I'm going out of town and I have a lot of stuff I'm trying to get all dialed in before I go, but I will get a hold of you at some point here in this next week. So I appreciate that. Bravo 9, hard shifting on newer 745 is a thing. Current trans hard shifts between third and fourth after transmission protection system. Interesting. So I'm following along this conversation, not because I have anything to add, but because this is good knowledge, and this is for everybody in here. Like, if you want to know how I know so much about things in the industry, and I'm not saying by any means I'm an expert, I'm not. But several people have commented multiple times, like, how do you know so much about so many different things? This is it right here. Like, following along with this conversation, I am now aware that the 745s now have some hard shifting transmission issues that I wouldn't have known before this conversation. And I'm probably going to ask some questions of some people when I have an opportunity to, if I ever get a hold of someone within CAT, you know, what's really going on and what are some of the issues and what are some of the fixes. This is how I kind of stay up on knowledge of all this stuff, is just by paying attention to stuff going on in the industry and conversations around me. And that kind of feeds back into the conversation we always have about this device right here. When you're on the job, stay off your phone and pay attention to all this stuff, because that's where knowledge comes from. So, Merrick, have a good week, man. Gonna watch some Olympics. Hey, go enjoy the Olympics, man. I was telling Jackson, who was in here earlier, like, I don't have an opportunity to watch the Olympics because I just can't sit down and dedicate the time to it. So absolutely enjoy watching the Olympics, brother. I appreciate you hanging out. It's easy to add into a contact that any additional work is done under time and material. It's still fair to the customer and keeps you from working for free. Oh, absolutely, Ryan. 100%. You can do those things, but you just need to communicate to the customer. And Rick's done it a couple different times with a couple different customers, and more than one occasion it's had to get uncomfortable. But at the same time, those are the customers, the ones who keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. When you really kind of back up from a high level and think about what's happening, they're not being respectful of you and your time and your costs. And so you don't, asking for a little, hey, while you're here, like, obviously you don't need to be a jerk about that, because to most people who don't know this industry, you know, what is another 10, 20 minutes on the machine because you're already here? It's like not that big of a deal. For me, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Because I'm a homeowner. What do I know? But it's those customers that really keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, and then all of a sudden you're just being an ass because you're not doing anything. Those are the ones where they're not giving you the respect that you deserve. You don't owe them the obligation of being nice and polite about it. And there's been a time or two where Rick has gone and said, look, I'm doing what's on our contract and what we agreed to, and anything beyond that you're going to pay for, and here's the hourly rate at what I bill my machine, and here's my hourly rate to run that machine. That is my cost going into it, and you're going to pay that rate for anything above and beyond. And without fail, and he's handled it in a professional way. Obviously, it hasn't been quite that bad, but there was one that was pretty much that bad. And without fail, that has shut the customer up, and they've kind of gotten the point that the machine and you don't run for free. So you can pay for the stuff, or you're not going to get it. So here's a lot of agriculture dozer work because the areas that need clearing only a dozer is able to do. Excavators rarely able to get into those places. JJ, I'd love to see a video of that. And just out of curiosity, are you typically going in and actually shoving over the trees, or are you doing, I've seen a lot of those clearing videos where you get two dozers, like massive, like D9 or D10s, and throw the big set of chains, like ship anchor chains behind them. And are you dragging to get under those trees? I'm curious what your technique is, but yeah, I'd love to see some videos of that. Ryan, company rented 2 of them to move overburden, and the guy said the truck completely missed a gear. Huh, that's interesting. Tim, absolutely. I appreciate you watching. I do this for you guys, so anytime I'm able to be helpful, that makes my day. And likewise, like I keep saying, if you've got any questions, if you have a subject you want me to cover, ask away. I have no problem taking requests. Oh, so Bravo 9 is actually pulling a scraper pan with it as opposed to having the rock box on it. Interesting. Okay. Saney, Jackson, I don't know. I've never run a Saney. I haven't been around them, so I honestly can't make a judgment call there. All I have to go off of there is what I hear from other operators, and I've heard a lot of other operators say the Saneys are pretty cheaply built. But I haven't ran one, so I withhold judgment. Danny, great channel, love your videos. That's awesome, Danny. Like I said, I'm glad to be of help. If you have any questions, if you need advice, if you just can't figure something out, don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'm here to serve you guys. That's why I do the channel. I have not operated a Ventrac. I have not, Jackson. They are pretty interesting machines, to say the least, but I have not run one. But those are more, if I remember right, those are more, let me look here. Yeah, those are more kind of your side of the industry, landscaping, lawn care. So we don't really have them on the dirt side, so I have not run them before. So we're right at 9 o'clock, guys. I think we're going to wrap this one up because it is starting to slow down a little bit. Oh, and then Jamie, right as I'm saying that, Jamie fires off another question. Favorite equipment to operate? Are we talking brand or are we talking the type of machine? If we're talking brand, I don't have a favorite brand. I like a lot of different things about a lot of different brands. And I try not to be one of those brand fanboys. Although if Nick were in here, he would give me crap because I do like Case. I like Case. They're kind of the underdog in the industry and they put out some really good stuff. But overall, There's pieces of cat equipment I really like. There's pieces of deer equipment I really like, and there's Volvo equipment I really like. So, it just depends. And then as far as the type of equipment, I really love sitting in an excavator bombing trucks, and I really love running a loader and a high paced, fast like pipe job. That's really challenging, and it's a lot of fun. So let's see here. Boom. Sorry, I'm getting lost. I have two sets of comments here on my screen, and I'm getting lost as to where everything is. So this screen here, where's Ryan? Oh, there we go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. So Ryan's gonna talk to his guys. And Jackson, what mowers were you running when you're running your landscaping company? We have 36. So yeah, we were running an Exmark. It was a super dinky company. It was me and my wife at the time. So we had one Exmark that we were running. And outside of that, it was just, you know, whatever we needed to rent for the job. We'd rent a Bobcat or something like that. So with that being said, it's 9 o'clock, guys. Like I said, I wanted to kind of wrap up right about this time. Really good live stream. A lot of new faces tonight. I really do appreciate you guys. I'm really glad that Bravo 9 and Ryan were able to help each other out, which, by the way, if you guys want to swap contact information through here, through message, whatever, I would highly advise that to continue this conversation. That being said, as always, when we sign off here, I will keep the chat up for another 5 minutes or so, or probably closer to 10 minutes, so you guys can communicate back and forth. Just another reminder, we will not be live next week because I'm going to be out of town. We will go live the following week when I get back into town, I believe. In fact, let me look at that just a second, because it might be 2 weeks that we're down, now that I'm really thinking about it here. So let me look at my Sky Miles trip. Give me just a second, guys. I gotta figure this out for you. So Sunday, August 8th. We're not gonna be going. Well, hang on. When's the flight? I get in at 3. Stay tuned on the 2 weeks. I'm gonna try my best to go live that night. Even though I will have started the day in Texas, I will do my best to go live for you guys. So anyway, Jamie, thank you. Just saw your comment. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. I'll leave the chat up. You guys have yourselves a lovely evening, and we'll catch you here in 2 weeks.